Hello and welcome to a presentation of VCowerPack. In this part of the session, I'm going to introduce our new configurator. We call it the SmartVC. Okay, we start with a quote as usual, standard SAP, and we also fill out the standard values here. Okay. Our VCowerPack has the ability to configure different materials, different finished products based on your industry, specifically for your needs. At this moment in time, we have these configurable or these quote materials in our system. And for the purpose of this configuration, I would choose a folding carton. Alright, I've fill in the plant. So far, so good. This is the first part of the configuration. It looks exactly the same like you know from your standard SAP quote-to-cash process. After I filled out all the required fields in the quotation overview, the system calls the standard SAP configuration screen. In this screen, we will see only a couple of characteristics. In that case, only the describing main characteristics for the product I want to configure. In that case, our folding carton. So I have to put in a couple of information here, like what is the dimension of the folding carton sheet, as well as what is the number of ups. In that case, we said we have a 5x4 configuration. Alright, that's it. And you will see our screen is turning green. All informations are in there. Now, we are going to configure the configuration process of our new product. And this is now the new SmartVC screen. You see it's slightly different from the screen you saw before, the standard SAP brand configuration screen. And this is because this is our own development. It sits on top of SAP, same coding, 100% smooth integration to SAP. Before we start in configuring, I just want to make you familiar with the navigation and the use and utilization of SmartVC. You will see here the tree structure on the left hand side, and this tree is built to order, so based on the input you have, you can configure the screen based on your requirements. We have a intelligent control, so whenever you want to use an item, you put it in use, you will get your information here. You have the same helps and the same pre-default capabilities like standard SAP. In addition to our standard SAP, where usually the messages are very technical and only at one point in time, we allow our users to get detailed information for all the items we are about to configure. So we have a status on each item. So, for example, in that case, you see it's red, and the system tells me you have to define a plate type in that case, and the number of plates are also not defined. So let's see if we can fill that out. And you see the system will give us the message back that now everything is okay and we can move on. Let's pick our sheet offset in that case. We say we have a sheet offset machine. This system, we defaulted a certain sheet offset, but there can be more. We can change it here in the work center. And this is the standard screen. You see here we have, as always in this specific type of industry, it's always important to have the number of quantity which goes into the machine and the number which comes out. In that case, we said it was 7,000. It's our produced quantity. We didn't specify another machine. So, in this point of view, the system thinks this is the first and the last machine. So, based on the machine-specific data, based on your run waste, based on teardown setup waste, we have already baked into our calculation the quantity in and quantity out. Okay, so the system says, well, it's yellow, and what should we do with this? We go one level below, and it says the stock material manager has a problem. In order to find out what the problem is, we just say, okay, show status messages, and we get the message that no base stock material is defined. Of course, we have the machine, but in order to produce our quantity, we have to put some paper in. In that case, we say we add a stock material here. Okay, and let's see. And you see standard SAP, and we take, let's say, the first one here, and the system's calculating. Okay, we need 355 sheets based on this quantity, based on the dimensions of the product, and we have our green light here. So, in order to show you the full screen control, I will just define, let's say in this machine, it's an offset machine. We will apply some inks. So we'll have a print process as well. So we say, okay, ink, yes. So now see, all of a sudden we have a next tab here, and we can jump back and forth between the tabs. So this is like the machine header data here, and here we have the different processes running in that machine. All right, same here. We have a red line indicating that something is missing. We know what's missing. We have to add an ink. And let's say it's, let's just choose that ink for example. We have to specify blue, and let's say a coverage is 20%, and we have to define the print on the front, on the back, or on both sides. Alright, we have the green light, and we can move on. Let's say we can apply some coating. Alright, and you will see again, we have the next tab with the coating, and same here, we choose our whatever varnish or coating what we want to use. Put a certain description in, and we say what is the coverage in percent. We say that maybe it's a 100%, 50%. Let's go with a 50, and we say the coating is on the front. All right, and okay, we forgot to put in the vendor here, but see, this is one good example to see how our screen control and our error messaging works. We have basically the same structure for all the other items. We always have the stock material manager at any point in time to see, okay, what kind of material I'm going to process, and in the end of the configuration I always have that as an overview. And with the next recorded movie, I will show you a complete configuration of this material. Alright, welcome back to our SmartVC configuration. You see here, this is our starting point. So I took the freedom and I took the specs I have for this product, and I went through our SmartVC screen we saw before, and based on the navigation and the status concept, I configured this new product. And I will just glance through a couple of items here just to make you even more familiar with our structure. So you see this tree structure here, and again, The tree can contain several things. For example, we have here our, let's say, pre-production steps, and we have different information here. We have our post-trim die cut, and we just go through it as we speak. So our first machine is the trim machine, and we're going to trim the product. And you see, this is our first machine. This means we have to have 9,258 pieces at begin of our production process to reach in the end our 7,000, the required quantity from our customer. Okay, so we have that here. We have certain other information. Again, this is machine dependent, and this is free configurable in the background in our customizing for SmartVC. So we see we have zero waste here, so we start with 9,258, and we are coming to our offset machine, Heidelberger print. So here we see the 9,058 come into the machine, and we are going to have, based on our waste and setup, a quantity out of 7,740. And this goes over to our next machine. It's the die cut step. We have a Bob's 102 letter press. We see here the 7,740 coming out of our offset machine go into our cutting machine and based again on the consumption and on the waste. We will leave with 7,340 to come to our final machine, the finishing. Saying that, you see the tree structure is quite similar. You can have different items in your tree, starting from a material, starting from a work center process. But you can also have documents in here. You can have other information, such as, in that case, we also have a CAD drawing attached to our configuration. And this is how the product is going to look like. We have certain information here based on the CAD drawing, and this is like an integrated CAD viewer, so we can actually zoom in and we can move our CAD drawing around and use that like a normal CAD viewer. With this, I'm going to finish this first session for SmartVC, how to configure within SmartVC. I think it's you got a high-level overview on how we going to configure in the future. It's as I said, it sits on SAP itself, so therefore we have a seamless integration to SAP. We still utilize standard SAP variant configuration, which ensures and guarantees a complete link to all the modules as the EPP, have a link to bill of material to routing, to have a costing, a pricing, all the standard SAP processes. But with this powerful tool, you can make configuration more reliable, more understandable, and more intuitive.